Hi and welcome. My name is Hugo Trump, and together with Audio Tuts Plus, I present to you the series of quick tips in which I will show you how to work with Sibelius. So I hope that after you watch the series of quick tips, you will be able to compose and also notate your own score. So this is the first part in which I will explain the basics of Sibelius. A little bit of preferences, how to work with the basic notes, input, how to create a score, make a title page, things like that. Now, in the next quick tips, I will go a little bit deeper into Sibelius, and I'll explain some more of the advanced stuff like adding expressions, legato bows, and also how to export something from your sequencer, and then importing that MIDI data into Sibelius. Now, for the ones who want to compose right away into Sibelius, let's just start. So this is the interface, and as we go to File New, we have our new score set up here. So this is pretty much where you can set the base of your score. Now you can choose between different presets, like a choir, like only a guitar or a guitar plus tab, orchestra film, modern orchestra, romantic orchestra, only a piano, R&B band, string orchestra. So in this case I'm only going to choose the piano. Now you can also change the instruments and add instruments, like I want to add a violin. Then we go to orchestral instruments, strings, and add a solo violin. Now we can also move it up, move it down, and delete it from the score. So you can choose between all sorts of different instruments here and add them to the score. Now we just want to have the piano. So I click Next. Next thing is the house style, which I will get into in the next quick tip. But it's basically the style of the visual style of the sheet. But we'll leave it unchanged for now. Now the time signature and the tempo are pretty obvious. You can also choose to make your own time signature, which is, in this case, this is pretty unusual. But you can just choose between the normal presets. Now you can also add a beats per minute, metronome mark. You can add tempo text like adagio and con moto, fast, grave, and vite, things like that. Now let's just add adagio for it, and the cool thing is that as you scroll through them, you can actually see what each tempo text with what tempo does it correspond. So that's pretty cool. Now let's just do it adagio, which is 60 BPM, which is the time of the clock, the speed of the clock, I'm sorry. Now you can choose the key signature here, pretty obvious, C major, minor keys, the open keys, things like that. So I'll just leave it to the major key, C major, right there. Now the title, score info, let's just call this new song. Here, your name, we don't need this now. Copyright, Audio Tuts Plus, something like that. You can also create a title page, which we won't do right now, and then we can finish. Now this is the basis of Sibelius. This is where you basically start. Now, considering navigation, what you can do you can just drag around your score, and what you can do is you can either left mouse click the background and just drag, or you can click between the bars and the measures here. Now holding control and then mouse scrolling will allow you to zoom, which is pretty handy, and this will also get your workflow more dynamic, because you can basically scroll, rotate, you can do everything with the sheet that you want. Now you can see the copyright here, new song. I really don't like this title, so let's just do Morning Glory. Okay, this was just improvised, so excuse me for that. Now, this is the basis, and as we use Sibelius for the first time, what we want to do is go into the File menu, then to Preferences, and then tweak some things before we eventually get started. Now there's a couple of different tabs here, pretty much a lot of different tabs actually. Now you can set the translucency for different windows, like the idea window, and also this keypad. As you can see, as I increase it, then it will nearly not be visible anymore. You can still see the drop shadow right there. I would like to just leave it on 0 because it's just normal. It's just clear what you're doing. Now, as we go to the file menu, you can save, export files, you can save your scores, print your date and timestamps. You can use different fonts for the program. Now, the IDs, we'll get into the IDs later, but the input devices, these are the USB Pro keys. This is my MIDI device, so let's just test it. It's working. Okay, so you can basically find new input devices here. You can use your old one. You can define whether it's a keyboard or a guitar. Number of strings you can define when it's a guitar. And we've also got some of the standard presets like the Axiom, the Oxygen, but this be just a regular keyboard. Now you can choose the language. You can choose between English, Italian, French, I think. Yeah, these languages, but you can also automatically detect it. Menu shortcuts, also quite handy so that you can customize the whole interface. The mouse, music fonts, note input. Now, step time chords. When you record something and it's very loose, you put this to loose. When you then play 3 notes, quite quickly after each other, then it will think that you play a chord, so it will basically notate a chord. But if you set it too tight and you play 3 notes very quickly after each other, then it will actually just notate 3 notes very fast. So I would usually like to keep this very tight, as the note input when you are doing a time recording with your MIDI keyboard isn't really accurate. So I would like to leave it on tight, but that's just personal. Now we've got different playback configuration. Load this playback configuration. We can get in that later. Score position, textures. Now, basically the basic things. So now press OK to choose OK. Now, obviously Sibelius works with audio drivers. So to define that, what we want to go do is go to the playback devices and then go and change different configuration. Now you can see as I choose Symphonia, which takes quite some time to load, you can see that I've loaded a VST instrument, and I've loaded that using Contact 4. So you can actually use VST instruments within Sibelius and then notate it, and then you hear the VST instruments. So in this case, my device is Contact 4 with Eastwood's Quantum Leap Gold sound set. But this is quite complicated, so I won't get into that. But there is a very good video on YouTube on how to basically get Contact 4 working with Sibelius. Anyway, normally you have the general MIDI activated, and what we can now do is get to audio engine options, and there you can choose your audio interface. So I'm now just doing everything through the speakers as I'm recording this quick tip right now, but usually I would choose my ASIO for All, which I downloaded. You can obviously use any driver that you want, any driver that your computer has. Now, just as a little bit of tip, here your virtual instruments and effects folder. This is where Contact 4 is located. So you can actually use your VST plugins right within Sibelius. Now, that's not what I want to get into, so I won't be saying that. Now, the basic of Sibelius is pretty much this. This is pretty much the base of what you need to know, except for one thing. Right mouse click. This is probably a thing that you're going to use a lot, because using the right mouse click you can do a lot of things. Now you can do things like time signature. You can change the time signature as we press OK and then click here. As you can see, it rewrites the time signature. Now right mouse click, we can change the clef. We can also make this one a regular G key. We can we can change the instruments. As we want to add an electric piano, we can just do that. Want to delete them from the score. We can also, the key signature symbols, we can add a lot of symbols right there, like the repeats here, like the coda, guitar, articulations, things like that. So symbols you can add right within here. You can add text like expressions. Now there's a shortcut, Control E for that. And as we click somewhere, this is where the expression is going to be. So we can either type something, or we can delete it and right mouse click and choose between a lot of great presets. You can choose between pianissimo, or even softer, or sforzando, crescendo, marcato, things like that. So let's just start off the score with the piano. You can change it, and that's also the nice thing about Sibelius, is that everything is kind of this fluid interface. You want the title, you don't want it there, just move it up. Composer, beats per minute, and the time signature, you can just move it. And as you want to make a bar a little bit bigger, you want to change the space between the bars, just drag it right there and it will automatically create a new page. So Sibelius is very dynamic. You can see the measure count here, you can see the copyright here, you can even add text, subtitles, tempo, metronome marks, subtitles here, for envato, something like that. Envato. Oh, let me just. What is that? Envato. Let me just type that. It will automatically do this. So that's why Sibelius is really, really great. You can also add a title page right there. Title is Morning Glory. Okay, you can try Morning Glory, pretty perfect. Now the basic things is obviously the note input, and that goes all within the keypad. Now if you have a MIDI device, then it's very easy. Just select the measure here, then select what time you wanna what quarter note or an eighth note, and here, and then just play it. So you can play 3 notes at a time, 4 notes, as many notes at a time as you want. G, C, A, F, and you can see that as I play, it actually plays the 8 notes. You can change within a measure the length of the notes. You can sharp, do things like that, all kinds of nice things. You can add rests, right there. So that is pretty cool. So you can just add notes with by using your MIDI keyboard. Now if you don't have a MIDI keyboard, then you can still input notes by simply selecting one and then clicking somewhere in a measure right there. You can choose between all sorts of notes, a rest, let's say a flat E, something like that. And as you can see, I added the E right here at the end of the measure, so it will automatically just go ahead and do this. Now, as again, Sibelius is a very dynamic program, so as I select these measures and hit delete, they will just be gone. However, at the same time, as I input notes, what I can do is change it right here. I can copy it and paste it. I can also paste it here, right there. Now, here's another great example of the dynamicness of Sibelius, because as I go to where it is, clef here, and I change this to a bass clef, you can see that the notes are automatically getting transposed. Okay, so this is the basic of Sibelius, and I hope that these really are the basic things to get you started, to get creative, to explore the features of Sibelius. And I hope to see you in the next quick tip, in which I will be explaining how to import MIDI data from your sequencer or your audio software, and then just import it in Sibelius and then edit it right here, so that you can have all the creative freedom of playing something in your sequencer and then editing it for real-life performances here in Sibelius. So I hope to see you next time, and thank you for watching.